Relish, pleasing or zestful flavor.
A quantity just sufficient to flavor, to be pleased or gratified by, enjoy.
We are hoping that what we bring to your table today might add some spice to your life.
Welcome to another episode of Relish. My name is Alex Zimmerman, and you all know Pastor Don Patterson.
Do we? Do we all know Don Patterson?
You better.
Yeah. Okay.
I assume that's why they're here.
Doubt it.
Today we've got a good episode. We promised last week that we were going to do some research on,
If it's all right.
check the accuracy of what we were thinking of. Is it okay to sell animals for or to Muslims for like a religious holiday? Like know that thing's going to be used for a religious holiday.
Right. And we looked at several scriptures through the Old Testament. I don't see it in Leviticus like we were looking for. And so I think the Ephesians 5:11 probably don't participate in the things of darkness. Probably is as most accurate as we can get to say, guys, be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful, because at what point are we participating in the action? Okay, let's take the goat. What point are we participating in the sacrifice of that goat? Do we participate in the sacrifice by selling the goat to somebody who's going to use the goat for sacrifice? And you can go sacrifice in the Muslim world. You can go sacrifice among the Jews. You could go to demonic world. I mean, really.
Yeah.
What if you know that they're going to come and buy your goat and use it in a demonic ritual?
Yeah. Possible.
Would you say no? Are they paying good money,
That's kind of one of the things. Are we saying it's okay because they are, from what I understand, is that there is a good market for it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had a big sheep sale.
Well, we wouldn't do it.
Go.
We wouldn't do it if there was a bad market for it.
Very well done. Very well done. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear everybody laughing.
Yes. So part of it, you like that. Part of it is, at what point are you in your faith in such a way that you're going to say no? Yeah. Yeah. Well, hi, guys. People at the window. Cool. So, do we need to take a hiatus?
I suppose. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Just a moment in our studio. Okay.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Edited moment.
Yeah. Trying to remember where we were.
We were talking about that. So then where do you draw your personal lines?
Right.
Because ultimately, these kinds of things sit in our discipleship.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that relationship between us and God.
Yeah.
And so you've got to do it. And what I've found in my life, and maybe you haven't found it in your life, is if I draw a line in concrete over here, and then I do something over here that isn't quite as easily detected, then somebody's, wait a minute, Don, you do this? You won't do this, but you will do this?
Oh, yeah.
And so then you start, okay, is there an inconsistency in my life? And I guarantee you, if there is someone who's questioning the Christian faith and wondering whether they should be a Christian or not, they're going to be looking at Christians and saying, wait a minute.
Oh, and they have every right to.
That does not line up.
That's right.
They don't practice what they preach.
They have every right to do that.
And they have every right to do that. Exactly.
Yep.
And so we have to sort of watch those parameters and be aware of, okay, if I'm doing this over here, how does that affect what I do over here? And we need to live into this faith that God has given us as best as we can. And that's why I don't hold somebody who's been a Christian 2 weeks to the same standard as someone who's walked with Christ for 12 years.
Yeah.
Because this is a growing experience.
Exactly.
It's like any other relationship. Yeah. We grow into that relationship with Christ. We grow into our relationship with God. And so it changes over time.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Yep.
It is. It is. and challenging.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, you always got to kind of check your heart to see where your motives are for that kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So before you sell your goat, pray.
Yeah, that's good. I'd say, yeah, another good idea would be a great opportunity for witness.
It is an opportunity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So on to the next topic. We said we were going to talk about quote unquote the Jews.
Okay.
Usually this is, when people are saying, these bad things are happening and they're attributing it to the Jews. So I wanted with Don to kind of figure out, who are we actually talking about? Right?
Yes.
Because the Bible talks about, calls Jacob is called Israel. So we have a person, right?
Yep.
Israel. Now we got then there's a people, and then there's a place. And so how do we know who we're talking to? So can you kind of define all the key players in this?
So let's sort of get a grasp of God's purpose.
Yeah.
God's purpose has been to call out a special people. And so we go back and we see this with Abraham. And Abram was actually from Eber, who was descended from Seth. And that's how we get Hebrew, from Eber. Sons of Eber. Yeah.
Okay.
And so our Hebrew thing comes there, and it comes through Abraham. Then Abraham, was this called out one from Ur and the Chaldees and called to Canaan. And over time, then the three patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then Jacob's descendants were taken into Egypt.
Okay.
And so that process was calling out a people.
A special people
Who would have been almost Egyptized, but not quite.
Right.
And then they were called out to this model that God wanted them to call into. And then over course of time, then it's always been a process where God, I hate to say culls out, but maybe he's doing some culling, his chosen people.
Sure.
And then we go all through the time of the kings, and we realize the kingdom was destroyed, and then there was always a remnant. And we hear Isaiah talking about the root of Jesse.
Yeah.
And it comes right down to, instead of being a great big tree anymore, it's just the root of Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Paul talking about us being engrafted branches into this root of Jesse. So I would hesitate to say that everybody who calls themselves Jew is Hebrew, because you have to separate the religion from the politics,
right,
and the ethnics. The ethnic source, the political source, and the religious.
Yeah.
It's as if there's three things we have to sort of talk about when we talk about Jews.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when we talk about Israel.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what God shows us in his word is he's always trying to get this faithful remnant that it may have an ethnic root.
Yeah.
Because he was still working with Abraham's seed. It may have a religious root, which probably is the biggest prominent piece. And if it does, it will affect politically.
Yeah.
Impact politically. And so it's been convenient to use Jews of an ethnic race.
Right.
And so you look for how's your nose? Anyway.
Oh, I have a Jewy nose. Yeah.
Jewy nose.
Yes. I would fit right in.
Yeah. I think there's even a couple Jewish DNAs in me.
Yeah.
And so we could all be called Jews, right?
Sure.
If you have some ethnic tie and a DNA that happens to be of that group. And so do we want to do it genetically, ethnically, and talk about Jews?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we want to talk about the religious Jews?
Right.
And, we have Hasidic Jews in New York, quite a prominent group and very powerful group.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very religious.
Yeah.
And they have certain protocol, and they observe that protocol. And you don't keep the protocol, you're out of the protocol.
Yeah.
And so they are practicing the faith that they talk about. We also have a lot who have been Jews religiously and call themselves Jews, and maybe not as ethnic as.
Oh, yeah.
So then when we pull through, what I want to end up at that piece is to remind ourselves that the Jews are in the Revelation. So we know in the end times, there's actually God taking from 11 of the 12 original tribes, 12,000 to be the 144,000. What's interesting is, if you'll notice in Revelation chapter 7, the tribe of Dan is missing. That's one of the sons, and Dan is missing. In Jeremiah 8:16, it indicates that the Antichrist will actually come from that tribe, which would be called Jewish, right?
Right.
Okay. So at the end times, there's going to be 144,000 of that root of Jesse that are going to be considered white-robed individual, having to do with don't harm. I heard them number those that were sealed in God, and it was 144,000 from the tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
And then in chapter 14,
that was chapter 7, by the way.
That was chapter 7, chapter 14, and with him the 144,000 who had his name and his father's name on their forehead. And I heard the sound of heaven, roaring, rushing waters like a peal of thunder, and the harps, and sang a new song. And it's a heavenly peace there in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And so of all those who call themselves Jews or Hebrews or Israelites, there will be 144,000 is quite a few.
Yeah.
A significant number that are kingdom people.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean what does that mean?
Right.
And so I'd say be very careful.
Yeah.
When we're throwing around the term Jew,
right,
and Israelite, and I'd say even the term Israel.
Sure.
Because are you talking about Israel, the Old Testament? Or are you talking about the present political state?
Right.
In the Middle East.
Now, I let Don cook for a little bit. I do like to listen to him talk and go through all this. But if you're new to
Don cooking,
if you're a new Christian or something like that, what he was doing is saying that there's a special group of people that God has chosen, right? And through Revelation, that's the last book of the Bible, right? That also gives evidence that these special people God will call them, right?
Right. It's 144,000.
144,000. So that means that they are still alive today.
Right.
Right.
There's a remnant
right.
within what we call Israel.
Yeah.
There's a remnant in what we call Jews. There's a remnant among them of these 144,000.
Right. And I have a question, so put a pin in that. But at the end there, kind of what we were saying is like there are a lot of different players that get labeled under quote unquote the Jews. And we need to kind of take that apart a little bit to see who's actually getting that label.
Absolutely. Because even in the Old Testament, we see Israel going against God and doing things that God didn't want.
Right.
And that ultimately took the kingship and the kingdom away from them.
Israel, that was the people Israel, right? Not the country?
Yes.
Right. So were they Jews?
But there was a country, Israel, back then too.
Back then as well, right? Mm-hmm. So were those people, the Israel body, right? Were they the Jews at that time? Or can you refer to them that way?
Ethnic heritage, they would have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or would become, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So, and so then, can I make it a little messier?
It seems messy.
We even know at the time of Christ, there were actually Greeks becoming Jews.
Yeah. Yep.
Religiously.
You can see that in Acts,
And exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so the proselytes, the proselytes were coming in, and so they wouldn't have had the ethnic piece.
Right.
But they would have the religious piece.
Mm-hmm.
So are they Jews? Yeah, they're Jews.
Yeah. Let me ask this question.
So it gets really messy after 4,000 years.
How? Why? So in the Bible, I feel like you can see you can understand it a lot better. There's a lot more definitions, separation between Israel, the country, Israeli people, and Jews, and just the different. Well, they didn't have different sects of them at that time necessarily. Maybe they're towards the end. what happened that makes it so that made it so confusing now, or what made it like mean? What made those words come to mean different things now?
Well, partly it's the diaspora, because when in 70 A.D., when the Romans took over Jerusalem, the center of the Israel world, Israel, there was a lot of pushing out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it actually pushed the Jews way out of Jerusalem, which didn't really work good for the Romans.
Yeah.
Because then they pushed them out of Rome.
Yeah.
And so the Jews have always been a dispelled people.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of all this mess, God has an intention to bring a peace out of that.
Yeah.
And that's at 144,000.
Mm-hmm.
And even the geographic spot of Israel will play a role in the end times. And I've been reading here lately and looking forward to these two witnesses that are talked about in chapter 11.
Oh, of Revelation, yep.
I think, that happens. From what I gather, it's going to happen there in Jerusalem. It's going to happen there. And they don't end up too good, and then they get resurrected.
Right.
I really think that's going to make the national news. I think it might even be on NBC.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
I would hope so. But what I'm saying is, be careful. Let's be careful how we treat these terms, Israel, Jews, even Hebrews, as to, are we talking about Old Testament?
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about Jesus' time? Are we talking about Revelation? God has an intention for that piece of real estate.
Yeah.
That we call Israel. Does that make everything that's going on right now right? Oh, heavens, no.
No.
I mean, that religious becomes political.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous spot.
Yeah.
I'm okay with religions supporting, especially the things that are positive about our faith, our morality, our view of sexuality, how we treat our brother. All those things of our religion should be affecting our politics.
Mm-hmm.
But whether or not I eat bacon or have to have lamb, I will argue with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, did I hit what you wanted to hit?
I think so. Yeah. I think the big takeaway, just since the Jews thing is so black and white, if you're that kind of person that you want to think of that in black and white, here's the black and white answer: that there's a lot of different things that come under that umbrella heading of the Jews. And if you do that, and refer to Israel as the Jews, and the Jews live there and they're doing this thing, you're not operating wisely.
Right. And I even remember a guy talking about the Jews we call Jews today are Edomites. And I thought, wait a minute.
Where
are you getting that? They're not really Jews.
Oh, I see.
And so I how are you getting there from here? I mean, what's the DNA? And I didn't get a good answer, but there are so many conspiracy kind of things out there that just muddy the works.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Go back to the Bible.
Yeah.
Don't mess around with all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Go to the Bible.
All right, let's go back to the Bible then.
Okay. Oh.
If Israel was God's chosen people, why did Israel repeatedly rebel against God?
And what was the point of rebellion?
Sure.
I still go back. This is Donnie's, special language that I do. I still go back to the fact they lost sight of the focus that God was putting them on.
Yeah.
Because the covenant that was made was that I will bless you. I will make your name great. You will be a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. And all peoples on earth will be, future tense, blessed through you. But the intention of that is you will be a blessing.
Yeah.
And I think when Israel lost sight of the fact, the Jews lost sight of the fact that because they are favored by Almighty God, they themselves are to be a blessing to the people around them.
Mm-hmm.
When they lost sight of that, they lost God's blessing.
Yeah.
And I think time after time and time again, you'll see this passage of Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3, used time and time and in different flavors, maybe here and there. But the bottom thing is, they weren't a blessing. They weren't being a blessing.
Okay.
Their selfishness, their self-centeredness, it was all about them, overrode the fact that they were elevated to a special position with Almighty God for the purpose of being a blessing to people outside who weren't them.
Yeah, and if you can...
And they were not a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
They did not live like a blessing. They lived like a closed community that weren't ever going to help their neighbor.
Yeah.
And then when Christ comes, in Mark chapter 12, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
And he says that in a reference to the fact that, okay, who is your neighbor?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Samaritan ended up in that story being the neighbor.
Right.
That's the thing that baffles me. When we look at the Old Testament and all that God was trying to do with his chosen people, and they didn't get it. That their primary call in this covenant with God, what they received, they were to bless others.
Mm-hmm.
No, we'll just set on it.
Yeah.
And I think the dangerous spot is, I hope Christians living today aren't doing the same.
I was just going to pull that in. You can make a whole sermon about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How often do we see people in the Bible and say, I wouldn't do that?
I would never do that.
Who was it? I just lost it in my head.
Oh, is it catching? I'm having those moments.
Oh my gosh. But you're looking at maybe, some of the religious actors that are persecuting, crucifying Jesus, and you're like, I wouldn't be that one. I would have been the one shouting Hosanna in the streets. I would have been the one weeping at the cross, not the one laughing and shouting things at him. But I mean, in reality, that's probably not true for a lot of us. You know what I mean? It can be very easy to lose sight of that. So then you look at something. This is the question. How could they do that if they were God's chosen people? It's like, well, how do we do it?
Right? How do
we do it all the time?
All the time.
Judas. That's what I was looking at.
Judas. Yeah. And you look at the crowd speak at the trial of Jesus.
Yeah.
And main voices were those of the Sanhedrin.
Yeah.
And main voices among them were the priests. And so the crowd speak picked it up.
Yeah.
Well, they're the guys who know.
Okay.
They must be right.
Good. Talk about the Sanhedrin then a little bit, because that's this conglomeration of Jewish leaders, right?
Primary two political parties.
Yep.
The Sanhedrin would have been made up of the Sadducees, and the Sadducees were a more liberal side.
Okay.
They did not believe in the resurrection. That's why they were said, you see. That's how I remember it.
Yeah.
And so they differed from the Pharisees, who were much more spiritual, but also more conservative.
Yeah.
And more Pharisees would actually accept Jesus than the Sadducees. In fact, there's a spot in Acts chapter 4 where it is the Sadducees alone that take the apostles before the Sanhedrin for trial.
Yep.
It wasn't the Pharisees. The Pharisees weren't. Because Peter's rhetoric at that time was talking about the resurrected Jesus. Well, I didn't bother the Pharisees.
Yeah, they believed in that spiritual.
Exactly. Sadducees were upset with that.
Yeah.
And so those two political parties were part of the Sanhedrin. And the Sanhedrin actually originated all the way back in Moses' time.
Right. So that's a good way. That's another good example of like when you're talking about the Jews and what's happening. Like even back in the time of Jesus, there were two different parties there that really differed on how they viewed the entire world and how they operated in a political and a power structure. So then you've got, people underneath them. So you've got like 5 already at that time, and you have to imagine that would multiply to now.
Oh my, yeah.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Feel free to become part of this ministry by sharing it with others. Our goal is to help each other grow deeper in our understanding of who God is and His calling to us in our daily lives. Thank you again for joining us, and may God bless your day.